Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Eustace Pharmer and I'd like to wish you not only a happy Valentine's Day but a happy Kuhn Day. Yes, I'm sure you're aware the Kuhn DLC is out and I think it's spectacular. There's a lot of items in this pack, and when I say a lot I mean a lot. There's 18, but within that 18 there's items that click together in a certain way, very specific functions. It could be a bit overwhelming and a lot to take in. Now, I know that every YouTuber and their cousins and their uncles are out there presenting Kuhn DLC walkthroughs. So I kind of struggled today thinking, how can I do this and make it different? How can I give all of you something to take away that maybe you haven't heard or seen before? Some things you may see again, but I can almost bet that you're going to take away something out of this video that you haven't seen on the others. And at least I hope so. So let's go ahead and get started right after this.
Silent scan.
This is what we came here for.
Alrighty, so the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is auxiliary tanks. Just like this PF-1500, this one's for spray. It holds extra spray. Now, intuitively, if you've used the Amazon one in-game, you already know it would hook up with this one. So this goes on the back of your tractor, the tank obviously on the front. However, it also works with pretty much any sprayer. So this is, you know, just your typical trailing sprayer, just like the other one that's in the game. And as you see here, I only filled up the front tank. It has a capacity of 1,500, just like in the name, and that's all you see. So if I filled up the back, then it would add into that. And there you go. So now, the same can be said for the TF-1500. This is, well, for this particular setup, this is the only source of seed feed that the machine will get. But if you hook it up to a regular seed machine, it's an auxiliary. It provides extra seeding. So if you're working on those big, huge fields, you fill this up, put it on the front of your tractor, and when your seed machine in the back's getting low, it's going to start feeding it in there. So there you go. It says 1,500. And if I filled up the seeds in the back, it will increase to the maximum. This is a beautiful map, by the way. This is the Sandy Bay map. It's pre-release. It's not quite out yet, but it's on the way, guys. Absolutely gorgeous map. There you go. Alrighty, so the subsoiler that's in the game, that's the DC-401. They say in the menu that it acts as a plow. So I was a little confounded about that, because if it's a plow per se, then why is it in the cultivation section? So I went ahead and put it to the test. And yes, it does leave a cultivation texture down, but it acts as a plow. So on this side I used this subsoiler, and on that side over there I used a typical plow. And here's the results. So as you see there on the left, that was with the regular plow, and you got the plowed indication, and the same thing over here on the right. So it does put down cultivated texture, but it acts as a plow. So that's great, because you could use this in combination with other implements. It's going to save you a lot of time and steps. All right, so next on the list is the bale wrapper. So this does round and square bales, and you can change the color of the wrap in the custom shop, and that's totally for free. And it accepts grass bales. It does not accept straw bales. And you can do hay bales, but it turns the hay into grass before it wraps it, and I was going to show you that. So let me go ahead and unload this one. So there it is. There's a hay bale. And you see it turned it to green, to dark green, turned it to grass. So don't waste your time doing the tedder if you're going to do silage bales, obviously, because it's just going to change it back to grass for you. And there it is. It did the round bale in the grass. So, okay. So the next on the list, the FBP 3135. This is a round baler. It looks like a square baler, but it's actually a round baler. So don't be confused, because there's another one similar to that, and it does only square bales and it does not wrap them, and I'll show you that real quick in a second. So yes, and this works the same way. You could change the color of the wrap in the custom shop totally for free. And here's the square baler, and it works like a traditional baler. There's really nothing else exciting about it, with the exception of there's a whole lot of moving parts inside and outside, places you might not even look to see unless you accidentally clipped inside like I did. And everything inside of this thing moves, all the mechanisms. I mean, this is like, you know, a mock-up of, like, if the company was designing a baler and they needed a full working mock-up, computer mock-up, that's what this is. I mean, Giants did a spectacular job. They really know their business. The Kuhn side mower here, I just wanted to show you real quick. If you have crop destruction on, when you're mowing the grass with any rear trailing mower, it's going to destroy the first layer of growth on the grass. That really does impact your yield. I've done an experiment, and it's several hundred liters less that you get if you're running over the grass. So with the side mower, if you come in and you just start going around in a circle, you're not going to be destroying grass that you haven't cut yet. Now, on top of that, what I did was I put the little lelly mower in the front. And you might think, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Why? For this reason. Sometimes you see how if you go in a little crooked or you get a little corner that kind of sticks out, this will catch it before your tire does. So it's just like a little extra precaution, if you will. Now see how I went crooked there? The lelly, because it's more wide than the wheelbase of the tractor, it's going to catch the grass before the tire does. So, I mean, I have it already. I mean, so why not use it? I mean, if you're going to go out and buy it just for this, I wouldn't recommend that. But if you already have it, this is another use for it. Another trick that you might not know of is if you hold down your left control button and hit V at the same time, that's V as in Victor and left control, it's going to raise both implements up for you simultaneously, or one after the other. But you don't have to go shifting back and forth with your G button in the menu. And that works on all front and rear mounted implements, or if you got two rear mounted implements that are connected together, works the same way. All right, a lot of noise there. Now, whilst I'm over here, when I did a episode of Old Streams, and I used the ROC merger mod, and I found it a bit complex for my tiny brain. It had a lot of functions, you know, a lot of pushing, you know, different buttons for it to do, you know, different directions. And the one key function it was missing for me was being able to put the swath through the middle of the machine like a traditional windrower does. And this mod has that. So if you press Y on your keyboard, and you'll notice up in the left menu where it says work mode middle, work mode left, work mode right, work mode middle. And I like that a lot. And that's going to really motivate me to use this machine. It's easy, it's simple. There's not a whole bunch of million arrows to, you know, change all these different directions and stuff like that. So if I'm going down here, and then when I'm finished, if I want to merge, you know, a few lanes together, I can do that by switching to left and right. It just works simply, and I love it. And if you stay within the guides on the ends there, the little Kuhn white flags, that's how you know, you put it on, like, say, the edge of this row when you're going down another row, and that's how you can merge them together and move them over. You know that's your guide, if that makes sense. I know I said that a little jumbled up there. Alrighty, so the next thing on our list, I saved the best for last, the combinations, what to hook up to what and in what order. Here's the first one. So you got the HR 4004 on the back, and this is a cultivator, and then you have the subsoiler in the middle there, the Cultisoil DC 401. You want to have this little subsoiler first because this acts as a plow, as we already saw. So you could plow up the field and then go ahead and cultivate right behind it. Here's another combination here. You got your seed tank in the front, the TF 1500, and then you got the Plantar 3 in the back. So that's pretty easy to figure out there, as we already established that you can hook this up to most seed machines. Now this is where it can get a little jiggy. So in the back here, you got the BTF 4000 drill. Then you have that HR 4004 cultivator. And then you have the DC 401 subsoiler in front of that. So you're going to plow, cultivate, and sow. The only source of seed for this machine is the TF 1500, which you'll have in the front. So there you go. And I do have another one, and I have that on a list that I prepared for you. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that in a minute. But the first thing I like to do is show you this in the store. So I'm in cultivators here. And the one thing that you're going to see is in the Giants menu is you have this little puzzle piece. And this is telling you what accessories can connect to this particular implement. Okay? So the HR 4004, the BTF 4000. Now, you might scratch your head and be like, well, what in the heck is a BTF 4000, right? So that's where my list comes in. Because there's also things like the Pharmer 4000. You look down here and you're like, AGCO 650, SB 700. Now, I used to do professional photography, so an SB 700, SB 900, those were high-speed flashes on top of your camera. So I was like, that does sound familiar. So I thought to myself, what the heck else would you want to have on your tractor when you're doing just cultivating? Well, depending on the size of your tractor, how about a counterweight? So that's what these are. But you see, they don't tell you that down here. You know, it would be nice if they said, you know, SB 700 counterweight. Because a lot of the old hands in this game, you probably already know that. But people that are new to the game or casual players, they're not going to know that, and they're going to be frustrated. All right, so there's the little cultivator that we talked about earlier, the 4004 HR that you connect with the subsoiler. And then the subsoiler, I turned it over like that on purpose just to illustrate that if you try to drive up and hook it up when it's in that condition, you cannot. No matter how hard you try, you won't. You'll have to reset it. And if your reset point is far away from where you're hooking up or working, you're going to become frustrated because it will fall over just by looking at it sometimes. So this is just, you know, a standard cultivator, the Pharmer 4000. But this disco lander, not only does it cultivate, but it also sows oilseed radish or grass. And it's pretty impressive when you open it up. It takes a little time to open up, so you'll be able to have a sip of your tea. Now, you can also hold down your left mouse button, and if you swipe to the left, it will increase that. If you swipe to the right, it will make it more straight. Now, I will be quite honest, I'm not quite sure why you would use it like this, because it doesn't seem to be increasing the working width because it's not expanding. So, being that I'm not a professional farmer, I do have some of you on my subscriber list that are professional farmers, and if you can let me know, I would appreciate that, because I'd like to be able to know when to be able to use that function. And then here's the tedder, and it's just, you know, it acts like a standard tedder. So as far as all the very detailed particulars, I know I didn't go over them, and that's because I have something else for you. So let me go ahead and show that to you right now. All right, everybody, so here we are on my Google Drive, and this is a list that I spent the better part of the day putting together after I got into the DLC. So things that even I questioned for myself and had to look into, that's why I wanted to put them down on a list and give it to you guys as well. So here's abbreviations that I used within the description, so you have a little legend here, so you can refer to that so you know what I'm talking about down here. So like this Kuhn Disco Lander. So I tell you what it is, what crops it does, CW is counterweight, so you'll know which counterweights to select, and required horsepower. And if you're combining implements, I did an experiment, and you have to add the horsepowers together and have a tractor that supports that combined horsepower. So like I did an implement that said it needed 130 and then the front needed 100. So I figured, well, I'll do 130 and I'll be fine. Wrong. It's especially taxing if you're working with different grades of land, going uphill and stuff like that. The minimum required horsepower is not going to get you far. So I had to go for not only a 230 horsepower tractor by adding them together, but I went a bit further. So I give capacities where it's offered and working widths on implements that have the working width listed. It's all right here for you. Everything in the pack. And then what I did down at the bottom here is I went and made out the list of combinations. And that way you know exactly what to hook up to what and in what order. All you got to do is, well, like here, combo 1. This goes on the front of your tractor. Back of the tractor, the first thing you're going to hook up is the subsoiler, and then the 4004 cultivator, and then the 4000 drill, in that order. And I noted that the subsoiler is in the cultivation area of the shop because they say it's a plow, but it's in the cultivator section. And that's pretty much it. So I hope this will help you out. You can come down here, you can download it, print it out, take screenshots of it, however you like. And I'm also thinking of, when I get some time, of posting this in the forum in a thread in photograph form. So I really want to make sure people that need it can have it. And I hope today's video, I hope you could take away at least one thing that you didn't learn already today about the DLC. And if that happened, then my job is done successfully. So please let me know down in the comments section what you think. Your feedback is always welcome and always appreciated. That's what helps me determine what content that you want to see and how you want it presented in the future. So, and then as always, I just like to say hi and chit-chat with you too. So again, thank you very much. And until we meet again, my friends, please live well, play hard, and take great care of yourself, okay? And happy Valentine's Day. Bye-bye for now.